Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of County Talk, boring but important. This is where we talk about the nitty-gritty issues that are happening in our county and things that should be of concern to you as a taxpayer. We're going to dive into some topics today that would affect veterans, and since we just passed Memorial Day, I think this is an appropriate time to have this conversation. I'm Sue Hansen. I'm one of your elected county commissioners, and I'm here with Commissioner Roger Rash, who is also one of your elected commissioners. Phillip, who is the Veteran Services Officer, and Sheldon, who is the former Veteran Services Officer. And we're going to talk. Memorial Day just passed. It's not a holiday we celebrate necessarily, but we do commemorate it, and it's important. And I love that there was some information on Facebook that kind of talked about the differences, because I think people get all the veteran holidays mixed up and they say happy this and happy that. And really, I think it's important to distinguish between what is what. And so Memorial Day just passed. Those are to commemorate those who gave their lives in service of our country. We have 3 veterans here today, and I'm just an old person, so I'm appropriately I'm a veteran, but not of the service. But we're going to talk about veteran service officers and what they do and what they can do for you if you are a veteran, and what help you might need. So I want to start with Sheldon Smith, who is our former veteran service officer. And you've served. So maybe just tell us a little bit about how you served your country as a veteran, and then let's talk about what a veteran service officer does.
That'd be great. And here's one of the biggest pieces is, what is a veteran service officer? The person that does everything for veterans? Not necessarily. So a long time ago in Montrose, I grew up here. I wanted to get out of Montrose. It was a terrible place, just awful, and I had to leave. So I joined the Army thinking that I would leave forever and never have to come back. A great career. I loved being in the Army, loved serving, loved the job and the people that I worked with, and retired and ended up in Montrose, because Montrose is a really nice place when you're not a bored teenager that is, not doing everything that they could for their future.
Well, we're glad you outgrew that.
Yeah, it was a great learning experience, and Montrose really is a great spot. But one of the things that we found out in very different ways is that there are not a lot of, military support here when you don't have an Army base or an Air Force base right here. And the state of Colorado had recognized that veterans, it's hard to deal with the VA. It's hard to deal with all of the different benefits and the different things you need to do when you don't have any of that support. So they mandate it, and counties have to have a veteran service officer. And there's various ways they can share, like here in Montrose, share with URA those duties so they can cover veterans for both counties. But the main piece is just to help explain what the benefits are, make sure the forms are filled out right, make sure that they have the right information. And that's what the statute says. But really, what else do we have? We have family members, we have widows, we have parents. There's a lot of other people that really need that good information. And that's the biggest role of the VSO, is really as a facilitator to get the benefits that the veterans or families need.
Yeah, and we forget that it's serving in the service is government, and government. We find ways to make things complicated. You can't just come back and get services and benefits and make it easy. I know Roger's had some, and you'll probably share with us some of your experiences. But, the veteran service officer is really supposed to simplify and help and serve folks that need help. And so how many veterans do we have in Montrose County? And
that's an excellent and very interesting question, and really, we don't know. Last time I looked at the census, there was about 3,200 veterans that were receiving services or pay from the VA. And when you look at it, it's like, there's only 3,200, but that's really a small portion of the veterans. Most veterans will go, they'll do their 4-year term, and maybe they'll use their GI Bill, and during those years that they're using GI Bill, they'll appear on that report. But once they're done with that, then they fall off. If they're not getting medical care, if they're not getting disability, if they're not using their home loan or the GI Bill benefits, the VA doesn't see them. So that's probably less than a quarter of what we really have, even maybe as low as 10%. Montrose County's, there's both the really patriotic, we want to help our country, and there's really that big pride, especially I get towards the West End. The Marines are really, really a big deal because they're in the families, and they see that they go and join the Marines and all the great things. So we do have a lot of veterans, and a lot of people, they'll come through and be in Colorado, like Colorado Springs, and they're like, well, we'd like to retire to Colorado, but not the city crap. Oh, sorry.
Beat.
Yeah. And where do you go?
Yeah.
Montrose is like the best of all Colorado has to offer. The great weather, the great stuff. So they bring a lot of people here. They bring their families. We actually have, there's some veteran organizations. Like we have a great prosthetics place here. There's a, up in Telluride, they have the adaptive sports program. They love veterans.
So let's take a step back here.
sorry.
And no, because we're getting ahead. I want to make sure that we pull Phil in to talk a little about who do you serve, and you're new to the role,
Right.
but you were a veteran. Tell us a little bit about your background, and then kind of how it's been. You've been in the job, what?
3 months now.
3 months, three whole months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So I'm just getting out from under the fire hose of it all.
You're doing
but
great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, very happy to be new to the position and got big shoes to fill here, and very happy that Sheldon's been willing to work with me and to help the veterans to continue the transition, to ease that transition. I'm from here. I grew up west of Olathe, same as Sheldon. I thought there's got to be something better than this. I joined the Army right after high school, did my 4 years as well, a couple of years in Germany, 6 months in Kosovo on a peacekeeping tour. Then I PCS'd back to Fort Carson at the beginning of 2003 and went to Iraq for 2003-2004.
Okay.
Finished my contract out late 2004 and got out, and then went to school at Fort Collins at CSU. Studied business and marketing and graduated at the recession. So they said,
Yay.
congratulations.
Good timing.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good luck getting one.
Yeah.
Other than that, I had a friend come back from, of all things, Peace Corps, and I was able to pick his brain a whole bunch and got to talk with him. And so in that kind of lull of opportunity, I took what opportunity I could and spent 3 years in Africa and did a lot of great things. That's a whole different story, but I do have a passion for service and came back from that in 2013. And I've just been slowly working my way home, and very happy to be home, and very happy to be here, and ready to serve.
So we could just tell the people that are watching that if you want to go, you'll end up coming back eventually anyway. So it's like the curse or something.
It's highly likely.
Come back.
There's
yeah.
a curse or a black hole.
Yeah.
But also that willingness to serve and the wanting to help people is one of the biggest pieces that made me think that Phillip was going to be really great in this role.
Well, you identified a great person, and we kid each other because we're here early, and he's doing a great job, just kind of getting his feet wet and figuring it all out. But really, if you have a passion for service, which I think all of us do, it's easy to step into that role.
Right.
Especially, I see you in there with veterans all the time, and wives, spouses, and giving them some advice. So tell us a little bit about what you've done so far for veterans. I mean, what are you helping them with?
One of the biggest things is helping them find where I'm located right now.
We are kind of tucked away.
Right, but we won't be here forever. We're going to be back at the courthouse when we get that finished. So really looking forward to that, and it's going to be a lot more accessible and easier for veterans to find and get in and out of. Other than that, I've been trying to learn as quickly as possible how and what I need to do in order to best serve the veterans, to get claims going, and to get things submitted to VA and help them through that process.
So give me a typical thing if I'm a veteran, and some of the folks I see there. They might be a little older and not just fresh out of the service.
Right.
So what are they asking you for? What do they need help with?
Well, sadly, a lot of times I think it's human nature, but with veterans especially because, we did our service and we, fulfilled our obligation. And some veterans come out with a good experience, some veterans don't. So a lot of veterans, it takes them a long time to ask for help. And sadly, a lot of times it's not until it's a pretty imminent need. So they usually come a lot of times with, it could be anything that's going wrong. It could be even some of the simplest things would be hearing loss and tinnitus. It's very hard to go through service without having that affect you. Really doesn't even matter much what your job in the military was. That's probably one of our most common claims.
Okay.
And
is that something you would send to the VA hospital up in Grand Junction for, or is that something that can be treated here?
no, for a actual claim, they would come in and get that going with me. We would submit that to the VA, and then the VA has to take a look at their past service treatment records. They're gathering evidence on past hearing exams, and then they reach out to the veteran and schedule a new or current hearing exam, compare those results, and make a determination.
Okay. And sometimes the service can take a long time to get, right? I mean, my dad was a Vietnam vet and Agent Orange, exposed Agent Orange, and it took a long time before they recognized that as a disability, and years maybe even. So, what do you tell folks that are frustrated by that? Because I think it is frustrating. You know, you served, and we have all this publicity that says veterans first, and we should respect our veterans. And yet, then when they come in from some real help, it can take a long time.
Right. I think the best thing I've been able to tell them is that part is out of our control. The part that is in our control is how I can help you and how we can best prepare or arm ourselves to fight for this claim and submit it to the VA.
Good.
Once we get it submitted, there's nothing I can do to make anything go faster.
Right.
And so luckily, all veterans have had experience with hurry up and wait, stand by to stand by, that sort of thing. So they at least are familiar with what's going to happen. It's going to take a little while.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get lucky and it gets through earlier, but likely it's going to take some time, especially with the new PAC Act coming out and has really backlogged the VA with claims just waiting to be processed.
So what's the PACT Act? Glad I asked.
You want me to do that?
Right. I would love if Sheldon could help me out
Sheldon.
on that one. Thank you.
So you're talking about the benefits that have come up. PACT Act was a big piece of legislation that came out, probably the biggest one since Vietnam. There was all that fight in the years for trying to get the services to Vietnam veterans that they really needed. And it finally had come together to where they did some more things for the Vietnam veterans, but also for Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan. It was a very comprehensive package. It affected millions of veterans, which, any system, when you add a few million new people into the system, it slows everything down. They're hiring new people, and there's some things like that. But it was great because it made more things presumptive for Gulf War, more things and locations for Vietnam. So Agent Orange, it only occurred in Vietnam,
Right.
only, and we know that, except for they finally have recognized like Guam and Thailand and all the other places that they had used it, including places in the U.S. And so that was a really big thing that did it. One of the other pieces, just to talk about, a lot of people don't understand that the VA is not just the VA, that you have a Veterans Health Administration, like Grand Junction, all but 4 employees, maybe 3, work for Veterans Health Administration, and that's where you go get your health care. Like you said, I need hearing aids.
Right.
They're your people. But when you're talking about a disability, I have this hearing disability, that's a Veterans Benefits Administration. And a large amount of time over the years, and even now, we talk about the difference between Veterans Health Administration and Veterans Benefits Administration.
Another level of complexity, right? We can't make it simple. So in some ways, you're a navigator. You help people navigate a very complicated system so that they can get assistance. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
So I don't think we could found a better person. You're very service-oriented and people-oriented, which is really, when you can help someone, it really makes you feel better. So those are some of the, the way, some of the nitty-gritty stuff of what you do for veterans, but important, all right? It is important to make sure that they can get the benefits that they deserve. They fought for our country, and we want to make sure that they get that. In some cases, I see, veterans, we applaud and laud them on one end, and then we make it so difficult for them to get services on the other. It would be really nice if we would be able to, improve the return and some of the benefits some of the frustrations that we see. So if you're frustrated with the system, let's touch base with Phillip, and he can help you navigate a very frustrated with a smile.
Absolutely.
He'll be frustrated with you.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
I will absolutely join the team of frustration.
So there's a lot of veteran. You do more than just help people navigate paperwork. You also do a veteran coffee. Tell us a little bit about that, and I think we have some folks up here playing guitar on the slide, and we'll show that in a second. But tell us about that.
Absolutely. We have some outreach programs, and again, I'm just standing on the shoulders of a giant here that has already implemented these things and have them in place. So I'm going to take what he's already done, learn it as fast as I can, continue it, and then see what else I can add to add services and help our veterans. What we do have is the coffees are the biggest outreach, I think. We go to the West End. It's the second Wednesday of every month. Second Wednesday over there, and we meet at Hopkins Field over there, and usually have a pretty good turnout, and it's always good to get over there to the West End. Again, that's a place, not only do veterans feel forgotten, but if you live in the West End, it's a pretty easy feeling to have as well.
Sure.
So it's really good to go over there, and we have great turnouts and just offer the services. A lot of times it's just chatting, hanging out with people, sharing stories of service and things that are going on, but it gives everyone an opportunity there to reach out and say, hey, I'm interested in filing a claim, or I have a question about this and my current status. So that's been a really great thing to go over there. We also do coffees with the Welcome Home Alliance in Ridgeway, second Tuesday of every month, and that's at the Sherbino
great.
Theater there. And both of these are from about 10 a.m. to 12, and it's pretty lax. A lot of veterans show up pretty early, so anytime from about 8 a.m. To noon, people start showing up.
Yeah.
So that's been a really good one too. And the Guitars for Vets is the program. Again, I have to give Sheldon credit for getting that going. We do that Fridays at 2 p.m. at the Welcome Home Alliance.
Great.
For veterans here in Montrose.
So you had lots of opportunity to network and to support each other and chat. I know that when my dad used to go to the, I think it was then called the Warrior Resource Center, you can't believe what a donut can do.
Right.
I mean, people.
Right.
Well, when you go in and you BS with each other and give each other a hard time, it's really it helps you feel better.
Yep.
It's amazing what that community can really pull in. Like any community, you need support.
But when you've been through either combat or just done your 4 years, whatever, you have experiences that you want to share. And I there were still some older gentlemen that had experienced World War II, and it was just really heartwarming to hear the stories and to hear how they bonded together. And having somebody just being willing to listen to your story sometimes is really valuable.
Absolutely.
So it's a tremendous service. So what flutes are next, or what's
drums?
No, this is a really great program. It's Guitars for Vets. It's a national nonprofit. What they do is they have different chapters all over the United States. And basically, it gives veterans an opportunity to come in. If they're interested in playing guitar, they can come in. We have an instructor that comes, and anybody that knows anything also contributes a little bit. We have practice guitars that they can take home and use while they work on becoming a graduate of the program. If they do 10 classes successfully, and successfully just means you show up and try.
Great.
If you do 10 of those, then Guitars for Vets is willing to buy that veteran a brand new guitar, a bunch of a starter pack, a whole bunch of things, picks, strings, capos, tuners,
rock and roll hair,
headbands.
There's a bullet in there somewhere.
There's glitter in there. There's tons of stuff, right?
Cool.
But they really do a great job of hooking up the veterans with a good starter kit. And I think that music, it was for me when I got back from the war. That was somewhere I turned and started looking, and it has helped me so much. So it's an honor to be a part of that and to see how music can touch people and really help and be very therapeutic to traumatic experience.
Yeah, and I think that's really great. So thank you to you for getting that going and starting, and then we'll see what Phillip can do with it after that. But
I'm worried about it because he's really into the music thing. For me, it's meditation is really great. And when I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to make my fingers, I'm not worried about what's going on tomorrow. I'm just trying to keep up, and it's really great. They're such a great group, and it's been a lot of fun. But I give him a hard time about being musical because he came in and had a head start.
Well, some people have it, and some people don't. So can you sing?
No.
Okay, so not that either. All right, well.
Or dance.
Okay, or dance. Okay.
I do it anyway, but.
I'm not sure a dancing club is going to be on the ticket for the veterans, but I think it's really commendable that we're trying to find ways that we can touchstones with those veterans so that we can transition them into, feeling better and feeling like they did contribute greatly to our world, our nation. It always makes me a little emotional to think about vets, and my dad served for 32 years, and so just that that dedication to the service. We're going to move into some other areas because I want to make sure that people know that they can touch base with you at any time. We'll put the contact information up there so we make sure that we connect that. We don't want anyone out there not knowing how to access services. But we have when flags have a lifetime, and sometimes they get ratty looking. So. Which one would explain the flag replacement program? Do you want to start, or Sheldon?
I can start again on that one. So working with the county, so Flag Day is coming up. This is a great advertising part, and it really ties into that nationalism, the helping with veterans, because there's a lot of the community that really likes the flags. And I'd get calls all the time. It's like, well, there's this ratty flag, and it's like, I can't deal with people's flagpoles. I can go knock on a door, but I can't do anything. And what we'd come up with is great kind of an advertising program that people could bring in their regular 3x5 flag, and we would trade them out for a new one. And they can also get our business cards. They can get flyers. They can talk and see where the building is. That's really, Phillip had mentioned, well, that's how people know where your office is. And it's really great that they can come in and trade in a flag. And really, for me, it's also appreciate that Flag Day is actually the Army birthday. And so for me, it's an extra special because we're celebrating our service. Sorry, Roger. So, yeah.
Now, let's not get into that. So we have
Well,
Air Force, Army, and Navy represented,
yes.
right?
Well, we're both Army.
Well, but I was an Air Force brat, so I'm going to absentia.
Okay.
My dad, I will.
Yeah,
So how did we get segregated here?
Yeah.
we may have planned
It was
this
a
ahead.
natural. It's natural.
Right.
Okay, so just to I want people to understand that the flag, it means a lot to me. It also means I too want to be like a night rider running around taking people's flags down because they've outlived their useful life, and it's at respect to make sure that you always have a nicely displayed flag. There's some other rules about flags, right? Some light at night. When do you expound on that? Don't we have to have a light on it and things like that?
They're supposed to be lit. They should be protected. Like if they're not, like taken down in harsh weather, things like that. We don't necessarily do that as much, but yeah, they're supposed to be lit. They should be clean. They should not be tattered. They shouldn't be faded. Like one of the big things, like when I was growing up, flag touches the ground, we have to destroy it. Not really. There's a respect for it, but if it gets dirty, we can wash it. But sometimes, Colorado, our sun bleaches everything.
Doesn't take long.
And that's really the big piece.
Right.
And then right now we're getting into wind season, and that's hard on it. So it's nice to have a fresh flag for Flag Day, and that really kind of sets us up for the summer to have a really nice display of the flags.
Right. Yep. That's great. And I think we have a drop box here at the county.
Yes.
So you can stop by if you can find our building. You can stop by here, 1140 North Grand.
Right.
And we have one. Are there other drop boxes?
Yes, there's a drop box at the Montrose County Sheriff's Office right next to us here, and I did give them some flags as well, so
Good.
They know the program's just about to be launched, and they're ready to pass some out if you bring them in. We also have, I'm going to drop some with the American Legion in Olathe, make sure that they have some. They also have a drop box there.
Good.
We have one. We're going to get the West End taken care of over there. Next time I head over there, I'm going to take a bunch of flags through them there. I think the sheriff's office is where we'll put those. What do you think, Sheldon?
The organization over there was talking about putting it at the co-op or at the sheriff's office. With the new building, I think the sheriff's office is going to be a better location.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah.
It's central to town, and it doesn't
Right there
take
in
long
Nuclear.
to spread word in the
Right
West
there in
End.
Nuclear.
Right. All you have to do is tell one person.
Right.
Everybody knows.
Absolutely.
So that's
it's a
good.
nuclear news network.
Oh, the informal network over there.
yeah.
They do have a paper too, but the word of mouth works. So there's the disposal boxes located conveniently, and you can come to the county here. And I saw that there were some flags set up just in the front lobby, so it's not a locked door, so you can come in and just grab that and drop your ratty old flag.
Right.
So we can dispose of that appropriately. I think that's a great service. I think we started that a couple of years ago. Right, so where we were just giving them out free, which I think is
Katie helped me out with that.
great.
It's been a great advertising program and helps the community too. I mean, it's really a win-win.
There's also a gentleman that I don't know if any of you know him, Bill Babel, that does, and he'll come and do a flagpole for you and give you a flag. And I
They're
think
nice. He does great work.
He does. He's put up a ton of flags, and we have one in our yard, and we've persuaded all our neighbors to have them too. So I think that's really great, and it's really neat that people do that. And it means it still means something to me. And I know in our world now we have this kind of controversy going on. It still means something to me. I know it means something to you all. So what happens to the retired flags once we get them? I mean, where do they go?
Well, yeah, there's a few organizations that'll collect them. I'm one of them. I know the Boy Scouts are another one that are around here in town that do a really great job going around and collecting those. What we do with the ones that I collect and a few other places is we take them to the Veterans Memorial Cemetery up in Grand Junction, and we turn them in there. They have volunteers that go through these flags. They actually cut out the stars and make a nice little memento for veterans that we pass out to people. So they are repurposed as much as possible.
So
And
that's cool. That's very. And do they do anything else with any of the other parts of the flag, or do they burn them, or what happens?
Well, it's taken care of in a ceremony, what's left of it. It's a respectful ceremony to retire the flag. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that respect. So if somebody wants one of these flags, can we contact you and
Absolutely.
get a flag? Great. Perfect.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Okay, so we've talked about that. Now we're going to switch to Roger. Roger's the chair of our Board of County Commissioners. And he's actually in his final term. Look how happy he looks.
Retirement on the horizon.
So, we have something really cool happening in our community. It's the creation of the Veterans Memorial. Roger's been very involved in that. So I want to turn to Roger and talk a little bit about how that happened, what it is. Can you give us some information about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an honor working with the coalition, the Montrose Veterans Coalition. It's been a collaboration between their group, the Warrior Resource Center. There's the city of Montrose is involved, and then, of course, the Montrose County. We had a location down at Therese Park. It really didn't fit, and there was some conflict and some issues with that location, and the city had some issues with the way they had funded the grant to build that park.
Right. I think legitimate concerns.
Legitimate concerns, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing kind of stalled. So they contacted me. I got reached out to Dave Frank, Montrose City Councilor, and we started working with them, coming up with other ideas within the city of Montrose. And they offered up, the city has been phenomenal, offering up I think they had 4, maybe 5 locations. And the one that finally shook out that was absolutely the best location, in my opinion, is down by the pavilion. It's just south of the Montrose Pavilion, next to the Botanic Gardens. And the view from there is just unbelievable. Once we get this thing set up, our veterans can go down there and they can reflect and they can do the meditation and the stuff that they need to do. And the view of the mountains is just spectacular. And it's really a view that I don't think any other memorial will have. Maybe Hawaii over an ocean or something, but we've got.
So now you're going to make everything competitive.
We are, absolutely. That's the way we are.
Yeah. Ours is the best.
Yes. So there is ways to donate to this cause. The city of Montrose is actually taking the lead on it, and thank you to the city of Montrose and their council members for supporting this, because they are offering up their services, engineering, they're managing the construction contracts, and the Montrose County and the city will share in the cost on that, along with these fundraisers that this coalition is doing. What they're doing is selling bricks, benches, stuff like that. So if you have a veteran that served and you would like to memorialize them, you can go out and purchase one of these bricks. You can go onto their website. I don't have the web address, but if you search Montrose Veterans Coalition, there's all the information on that, and you can find the phone numbers and the information, so how you can donate to that and purchase a brick or make other donations. They have benches and stuff like that.
They'll take cash.
They will take cash, absolutely.
And I reached out to, actually, having been in the National Guard unit of Montrose for a long time, I reached out to 4 or 5 of the former commanders, and they are buying bricks as well, because the unit, while they're not in Montrose, the unit here in Montrose is part of who they are and their career, and they, I think, mostly remember it fondly. It's kind of one of those that it's great. And the important part, they don't walk on the bricks. The bricks aren't going to be with the names on it. We're not walking on them. They're going to be on the side and protected and things like that. So, it's a way for family to, show support for veterans, to put the veteran's name on it, or, celebrate the units that they were in.
Yeah, I think it's really great to have that in our community. And we probably started talking about that a year ago. I don't know. Time goes by so fast. Yeah. But interesting and great that we were able to work with the city to get that going, much to Roger's credit. Very passionate about veterans and how we can, serve the veterans and honor the veterans. And I think this is a really great way. So people can buy a brick, what, $150, or is that about
I think
the
it's
price point?
$125 for the brick.
$125. So very, an affordable buy-in to be part of it. It'd be nice if we got 100% of our population to buy a brick. Wouldn't it be great?
That'd be great.
Yeah, so maybe that's our goal. And but they can also do cash and buy a bench. Do you have any idea what the benches might be?
There's different levels. I was just checking the website and different levels of contribution for different items.
Okay.
Like
Great.
the American Legion in Olathe that I'm a member of was looking at doing one of the benches so we can have our post number to show the support for the veterans in the community as well.
That's great. That's great.
But there are different levels, so you have to look at the flyers and the charts.
So, is there a date of potential completion for us on the memorial, or what are we talking about?
Well, we're hoping to get started. Right now, we're going through the engineering phase. They are actually the city of Montrose. Their people are doing the engineering. Hoping to start construction this year, and we would hope to be done by hopefully Veterans Day 2024. And a lot of that
2025.
25. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And a lot of that has to do with processes and permitting and all that stuff. So
We're talking about the government again.
we are talking about the government
Takes
again.
lo- everything takes longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Elon Musk would have it built next month.
I know.
It might blow up, but it'd probably be okay.
I know, but we do have processes we have to follow and all of that.
And you're
so-
looking at multiple boards. So
Right.
you're going through the city council. They'll have to vote on issues. It'll have to come before our board. And like everything, we would be looking at the city's or our citizens' interests and how we're spending the tax dollars, which I think this is a wonderful cause that Montrose County would be more than willing to help fund this thing.
Yeah, and I
because
think-
it's to me, this is working together. And you think about the all the branches of the military, we're not successful unless we're all working together. You know, we banter back and forth about Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. But without all of us working together, these things just don't happen. It's disastrous if we're not working
Well, I
together.
don't know if the Air Force would agree with that.
Well, when you
Well, somebody has to be smart and supervise
I know.
everything. So that's just kind of where we are.
Bingo.
so that's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping for is that we'll have the coalition and the city and the county will work together, and this is kind of be an annual thing, maybe a proclamation that we owe it to our citizens for
value
us
those-
to work together for the greater good of our community,
Yeah.
and that's what we want to.
Yeah, and something that, I'm just going to throw this in because, not all previous boards worked well with city government, and we've, have seemed to have been able to make that work really well. And it is better working together than
Absolutely.
it is working against each other. And so you have economies of scale, you have benefits that you wouldn't normally have, and the city has areas of expertise that we don't necessarily get involved in. We think of we're more nuts and bolts. And so I think it's been a great partnership. So
Absolutely,
yeah, and thank
yeah.
you for your time on that, Roger. I know you've really put a lot of energy into that and appreciate that. So, and I think that the veterans will have deserve a spot to sit, reflect, think about life as we know it and what's going to happen in the future. So yeah. Anything else about that we need to know about before?
No, I'm just
Okay.
proud to be a part of it
Yep.
and look forward to seeing it actually constructed. It will be constructed in phases. So, the first phase may be finished before we move on to the second phase. And that thing's going to be pretty spectacular when it's built out. And I think of Angel Fire. I don't know if you guys have been there in New Mexico, and that's when you go there, it's really hollow ground and it's moving when you walk in there. And that's what I think this one's going to be.
Yeah.
When you walk up to that thing
You'll
and it's
feel it.
fully built out with the helicopter and all the stuff, it's going to be really something special. And
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
I think that's, and I think when you talk about veterans, because we just gave the send off to the 947th, and then they're going to Saudi Arabia. We don't know what's going to happen, and I think that's. And I remember when my dad left for Vietnam, I'll never forget the look on his face. You're leaving your family for a year, maybe more. That's really. It's hard for just regular old citizens to think about how that feels for a veteran. So, we are 100% in support of veterans and want to make sure that they know all the services that you provide. We want to make sure we help them in any way we can. We want to make sure everybody has flags. I'd love to have 100% participation on that too. So let's. So we have a Veterans Memorial going on. We have a very active VSO. You're going to be singing at this when that does the opening. Is that right, Phillip? Let me write that down.
Thank you.
It's tentative.
So let's just recap and tell us how do we get in touch with you. we want to make it very simple so people can reach out and can talk to you about whatever they need to.
Right.
And then maybe when the next coffee is coming up.
Okay. Yeah, I think, again, just being able to find me. So what I tell people a lot of times is if you know where the sheriff's office is and you're looking at the front door, we're the building to the right. Mm-hmm. So we're in between the sheriff's office and the posse building. So we are very secure.
Yep.
That the address is 1140 North Grand Avenue. You come in, ring the admin county button, and that gets you somebody up here, and we can buzz you in and get you in. Otherwise, I think the best way to get a hold of me is my phone number is 970-249-2115. And please have patience with me. Leave a message, and I'll call you back, and we'll get something set up. We'll figure out what's going on with each veteran and then see what we can do for them. I'm also on the website, the Montrose County website at montrosecounty.net. And you can email me directly at vso@montrosecounty.net as well.
Great. So just to reiterate, we're in this building that's on the very south end of the sheriff's office, in between the posse and the Justice Center, and right now it feels very inaccessible because we have to go through like 20 locked doors. Right. Just so people know, this used to be the old child support building, and the DA is in here, and so there's some real needs for it to be secure. I would love to have just a chair sitting out on the lawn so people know that the commissioner's here and the VSO is here, so we could be more accessible. But it won't be too long before the courthouse is finished, and we'll all be in there, and it'll be real easy to access us. But don't let that stop you, because we want to make sure that everybody knows what's available for them and how we can help them. I guess final thoughts from each of you about your service and what it means. And we have an upcoming holiday. Flag Day is coming up on the 14th. Is that correct, of June? But Roger, do you want to start and just give us a send off and make us cry? Make us cry.
Make you. Well, my history is a little different than what Sheldon and Phil did. I went into the Navy when I was 30 years old. So I went in what they called advanced pay grade. I didn't go through the same stuff that these gentlemen went through, and I was a reservist. So for me, it's one of those things where, sometimes I feel like I did not do the service, but I was willing to go. I served. I did the weekend warrior thing, and I did it for 6 years of an 8-year enlistment, and I am so honored to be sitting with these folks. And when I go to these coffees and I go to these events like the send-off that we just went for, it just touches my heart, because I know what these guys have went through.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't experience it, not that I wasn't willing to go experience that, but I did not get deployed. I didn't have to be away from my family other than my training.
Well, there's all ways of serving, right?
Yeah,
So not everybody.
absolutely.
And I know that my dad used to say that he felt like the boots on the ground were doing the real work, and that he was in an office in Saigon, and so it was a very different experience for him. I mean, no less valuable, and his job was important, but that there's so many different things you can do in the service. So, I want to close by saying that respect people that choose to go into the service. My dad encouraged me to be an Army nurse, and then I took chemistry, and I realized that would never going to happen. So, but I really, every time the flag comes out, every time there's some kind of patriotic thing, it just touches my heart, and it still matters. Our country, even though we're going through an awful lot of interesting things right now.
Absolutely.
Patriotism still matters. It's still a thing. Yeah. So I want to thank you two for your service. Appreciate it. And I hope that what we've explained, and I hope you've learned a little bit more about what a VSO does. You can call any of us and we can talk about how we can connect you with Phil. If you can't find him directly, we want to make sure that you find him. So thank you all for taking time to chat a little bit about this and to talk about how important veterans and the Veterans Memorial are to our area. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
both
guys.
for your
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.